Today we're diving into a topic that I know you will find super helpful this time of year. We're going to talk about using Feng Shui principles while traveling. So whether you're planning this relaxing beach getaway, an adventurous hiking trip through the mountains, or just even you have a quick business trip coming up, utilizing Feng Shui will help reduce stress, enhance your experience, and bring a sense of joy to your journey. So let's get going. Welcome to Feng Shui Living, the podcast designed for busy women who want to de-stress, live with intention, and create a home that truly supports their well-being. Each week, I'll bring you practical tips, insightful ideas, and simple strategies to enhance both your home and your life. Let's get started. Hey there, and welcome back to Feng Shui Living Tips for Busy Women. I'm your host, Lisa Morton, and we're diving into this topic that seems about perfect for this time of year. Spring break is going to be here before we know it. You might have trips planned. You might be thinking about trips, and these 6 tips that I have for you today are really going to help you. So I've done a lot of travel, business travel. I mean, I've done a fair amount of traveling on my own. My husband and I love to travel. I just love to go on solo getaways. I used to do these solo getaways to Sedona every year, and it was just a really magical healing time for me every year. And I've had a lot of hiccups, especially when I did a lot of business travel. I spent several years doing a lot of international travel. There was even a year between when I left, I guess, my aircraft job and before I started my business in Ohio that I was a rep for a company for about a year. I spent 3 weeks a month traveling, and then the 4th week I was working from home, but I still had to at least do an overnight here or there somewhere near where I was. I literally lived in a hotel, and it was a very stressful time. I was not feeling well. I was not feeling confident. I was struggling with my health. I was gaining weight because I wasn't eating well because I was, what it's like in a hotel. And at the same time, we were also new to this city. I was trying to meet people and just connect. It was incredibly hard. I wish I had these tips back then, but these are great even if you're doing a fun family vacation, or maybe you're on, I don't know, some excursion with all these families going on cruises together. There's so many wild, fun things going on. But these will help you. I promise. I have 6 tips for you. And number 1, we're going to start in with it's the perfect starting point. Setting intentions before you go. Get realistic, folks. One of the best things you can do before traveling is to set a clear intention for your trip. Why are you going? Why are you going on this trip? Are you going to relax? Are you going to reconnect with other loved ones? Maybe you're all meeting at a destination. You're going to spend some time together. Maybe you want to truly create some memories with your children or grandchildren. I just talked to a friend who's planning a trip to take her grandson to Disney. How exciting. What memories they're going to make. But then also maybe it's a business trip. So set your intention, and by setting your intention, you're already aligning that energy with your desired outcome, right? So I love to do a quick visualization before I leave. And I imagine smooth travels, safe travels, and a truly wonderful experience. Think about the things you want to do. You can write down your intention in a journal. You can jot it down on a sticky pad and keep it in your bag. You can make a note in your phone about your intention for this trip. So just get really clear on what you want to do before you go. I won't ever forget when my husband and I went on our honeymoon. We had both traveled a lot, but not together. This was our first big international trip together. And I won't ever forget, we were in Rome, of all places. It was beautiful, but we fought the whole time. We don't ever fight, but we were bickering the whole time in Rome because we weren't used to each other's styles. He is that type of guy that we go view this, and then we'll have 10 minutes to walk to this location and tour this, and then we have 5 minutes break, and then we'll go tour this. And meanwhile, I'm the type, I want to find a cafe and have a glass of wine and sit and people watch and munch on some delicious food. And if we roam into a museum and there's space for a tour, then we'll do it. If not, wasn't meant to be. And we just had to understand how the other person travels. So that can also be part of your intentions too, if you're going with someone you haven't traveled with much before. So tip number 1 is set your intentions, get realistic, and set your expectations. Number 2 is pack with purpose. When packing, be mindful of the energy of the items you're putting in your suitcase. I always recommend packing light, only bringing the items that bring you joy, bring you comfort, make you happy. One of my quick things that I love to do is I dress in accessories that need brown or black. I don't know if anybody else does that. Let me know, but I always default to brown or black. I don't pack for both because that is incredibly hard. It just takes up too much space. I love to just pack as light as possible. There's also, depending on where you're going, you can snag something. If you need an extra hoodie or something, you can snag a layer pretty easily. Just really remember to avoid cramming your suitcase full. Instead, I encourage you to leave a little bit of space for new energy, new experiences, new mementos to remember your experiences. Consider, bringing maybe some items that really bring you joy too. Maybe rocks and crystals. Some essential oils, maybe a little travel candle if that's allowed where you're staying. I always love to travel with a beautiful beautiful wrap or a scarf because it seems to always keep me warm when I'm on a plane. I'm always cold on a plane, but then it's easy to take it off when you're trying to get your suitcase from the overhead. You have your bag, you have whatever, it's easy to throw around your neck, throw over your purse or something. So I love to travel with a scarf or a pretty wrap. And that comes in really handy. At the same time, you can easily roll it up really snug and shove it in your suitcase last minute when you're headed home. So really think about packing with purpose. Leave space for new mementos or things maybe you want to add to a collection of something at home. So make space. Leave space for this. And then bring those things that make you feel comfortable. Just anything that makes you feel really cozy. I actually, years ago, when I did all kinds of international travel, I traveled with a stuffed animal. It was this dog. And my husband, we were dating. He gave it to me. It was cute. And of course, I think I was in Israel, in Tel Aviv at the airport. And because I would have these giant suitcases, I'd have a giant suitcase of my own stuff, but then I had a full, huge suitcase just of design supplies, countertop samples, tons of fabrics and swatches. And I don't care what airport I went to, they were like, what do you have all this stuff for? And it would always get flagged. I'd have to open everything up. And sure enough, on this trip, I'm with all these coworkers, all these guys, and I open up all my suitcases and they're digging, my clothes are everywhere. Of course, it's embarrassing, whatever. And of course, there on top is my stuffed animal. And so all the guys after that, they loved to joke about my stuffed animal collection. But it brought me a lot of peace and comfort when some of those times you might get a little homesick. You might be like, oh, I just wish I could be at home right now, snuggling with my own pillow. Sometimes a small little stuffed animal or whatever, or your favorite hoodie can do that. So just keep that in mind. Okay, on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is really hotel room feng shui. When you arrive at your hotel room or your rental, whether that's an Airbnb, VRBO, or something like that, take a moment to really refresh the energy of the space because you don't know who stayed there before. You don't know what their intentions were. You don't know. Maybe they just had a really bad time. Maybe they were sick. You don't know. So open the windows. That is the very first thing I do when I go into a hotel. If possible, I open the windows. Airbnb, it's more likely, that you can get those windows open. Get them open, get some fresh air flowing through. You can then also do a bit of space clearing. You can clap your hands loudly around to shake up any energy. I also take my Good G space clearing spritz. I pack one of those in my suitcase every time and mist the entire room. So you can shift the energy of the space and reset it for you. This is really important. Create a sense of home by arranging your stuff, hanging your clothes up, placing your shoes in a nice order next to the door. Like, unpack with intention of being settled and being comfortable. This will help you also feel really comfortable. I was traveling last weekend with a friend, and she showed me she loves to get all her toiletries out and like place them all out on the sink, all beautiful. So maybe that's you, but really create a sense of home. Hang those clothes, figure out where your dirty laundry might be going, and make sure everyone's on board, your kids, so they know. It will help to prevent clutter from building up all around the room. Because the last thing you want to do while you're on vacation, say you're on a week-long vacation, you don't want to have to pause halfway through Wednesday and have to clean up because there's clutter everywhere. It's just going to make you feel stressed out and not enjoy your trip. So try to be intentional with where you're placing everything. Tip number 4 is to create a sanctuary. If you struggle with sleep while traveling, something that I've struggled off and on with, focus on your bedroom. If you can sleep, you're going to enjoy your trip a lot more, right? So do what you can to really find good sleep. So make sure your bed is in the command position. If you're in a hotel, you might be stuck. And I've been there. I've been in a lot of hotels. I've had to get really creative on how I'm going to make myself feel more comfortable. In a rental, you might have more. You could maybe even move the bed. Why not? Move it back before you go. Just be careful you don't damage the floors or anything. But I've been in hotels and the alignment is horrible. You want to make sure you have a solid headboard against a solid wall, and you want to be able to see the door off to one side. Now, in a recent episode, I talked about something I'm seeing a lot in new builds, new construction, is the door opposite the feet. Now, we don't want this. This is too much energy coming towards your body. You're not going to sleep. So in a bind, what I've done is you can move a piece of furniture there, just kind of create an energetic barrier. One time I went so far as taking the luggage stand, placing my suitcase on and opening it up to help create a bit of a wall. And that really helped and made me feel more comfortable. It was just kind of this symbolic barrier of comfort. I also recommend cover those blinking lights or electronics to really minimize any of those little distractions. Recently I was even really careful how I took the remote to place it right in front of the blue dot on the TV. Any of those little lights can keep you up. Sound is another thing. Again, recently I stayed in a hotel and you could hear, we were nowhere near the elevator, but you could hear the elevator whooshing all night and all morning. Bring some white noise, a noise machine. Maybe there's a white noise app on your phone. You can also bring some earplugs. And we talked about those lights and weird things in hotel rooms, but typically in a hotel, you're going to have blackout blinds. In a rental, maybe not. Maybe you want an eye mask. Think about what is going to really help you find sleep and create that sanctuary for sleep. Because you sleep better, you will have a more wonderful trip. Tip number 5 is grounding techniques while away. One of the biggest challenging times is traveling and there's chaos. We're in airports, we're driving, stopping at rest stops to grab a snack, and it can feel really, really chaotic. So changing time zones, that can be busy. What I always recommend is spending time outdoors. Walk barefoot, um, get around as many natural surfaces as possible. I love to get out of the car whenever I see a park. Look for parks on your journey if you're driving. If you're flying somewhere, make a point to find some outdoor space, maybe even just outside your hotel, where you can feel the blades of grass beneath your feet. If it's warm weather, do it if possible. You could pick up a stone from the beach or a pine cone while you're out hiking and just really connect with nature. Something else that I do love to travel with is my Huga grounding mat. It's a small grounding mat that you can plug in, and I'll use that in my hotel room, especially if I've been flying. Flying can be so stressful on your body. And then tip number six is enjoy the moments. It'll be over before you know it. So remember to fully enjoy the moment. It's easy to get caught up in schedules, in plans, in feeling overwhelmed, but really make room for spontaneity. Make room for, oh, there's a really cool museum. Let's pop in. Make room for that. Allow for that. And who knows what amazing experiences will come your way. Travel is such a beautiful way to really shift your perspective, to reset your energy, to just feel revived when you come home. Maybe sometimes I know I'm about at this point where I just really need to get away and just bask in the sunshine and feel the sunshine on my body for more than 5 minutes. By incorporating a few of these simple tips, though, you can have a most wonderful experience. Now, let me know where you're going, what you're going to see, what you're going to do, and let me know what tips you take on. Be sure to message me, post, share with a friend if you love this episode, if you know someone who's going on a trip, okay? All right, friends, I will see you at our next episode. Safe travels. Special thanks to our sponsor, Elevated Living School of Holistic Design and Feng Shui. For more information, head over to the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and share this episode with a friend. We'll see you next time.